Welcome everybody to Papa Spice's Hot Takes with Hans and Harry. How is everybody doing out there in internet, or I guess if you're listening on streaming land? Hope you're all doing good tonight. I am Papa Spice as always, and I am flanked by my amazing co-hosts. Har, how you doing tonight?
Doing good, Papa. I'm actually doing really good because I was scrolling through my phone the other day, and on Letterboxd, I saw a review from none other than Papa Spice himself, and it was on the movie Sicario, which is something that I guess I've been wanting. It's in my top 4 on Letterboxd because I just absolutely adore this movie, even though it is a pretty dark film. And yeah, Papa had watched it, so I'm excited to get into that in a minute.
Okay. We'll touch base on that. Let's finish the intro first. I know you're raring to go with that.
Chomping at the bit.
Hans, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Good. I don't know if anyone is all caught up from earlier in the week, but big night for our favorite show on this podcast, Ted Lasso at the Emmys. Mm-hmm. It pretty much, they got every acting nomination, except even though half of them were nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Literally, I think four of the cast members, but Roy Kent, my man, got the win. But a lot of other. This is like the first time at the Emmys I actually watched most of the shows that were nominated. Normally, I feel like I'm like lost. Like, and no pun intended, this is the anniversary of Lost coming out.
Yes, yeah.
But but with that, like I feel like this is like a lot of shows I me and the wife have been catching up on. So it felt good to actually root for a show that I am following.
It's good. I'm always that way with the Oscars, where like if there's something I haven't seen, I feel like I kind of get FOMO. It's like, oh man, I wish I knew what they were talking about. Yeah. So I try and see as much as I can, but there's always going to be some holes in the thing. But some hole that I just filled, some gap in my movie knowledge. Yes, is Sicario, as Harry mentioned. For those that haven't followed me on Letterboxd, what are you doing? Check me out. Exactly. Sure you can 84. But I rated Sicario 4 stars. I finally got around to it. I was in the mood for a Denis movie, so I watched it, and I mean, I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I think it was just masterfully done. The only knock I had against it was the extended like night vision scene when they're doing a raid at the end. It looks a little video gamey, but then again, it's like, how else are you going to do it? It makes sense. So, but other than that, I mean, I thought all the performances were great. It was a very tense movie. I kind of want to check out the sequel, even though I know it's not by Denis. And correct me if I'm wrong, Emily Blunt is not in it, right?
No, it's more of an action. I don't want to say, because this one has a lot of action in it, but it's more not like this. I feel is like a thriller, where the other one's more of like an action kind of adventure one. In it. So, but yeah, I mean, that border crossing scene is an all-time for me. So
yeah, it's really wild. And I think I even texted you guys just to say, Benicio is an OG in this movie.
Yeah,
like he is just so wild. But yeah, really enjoyed it. So thank you for pushing me to get that.
And I was gonna say, Hans, you got my mom in the Lost. I don't know if she's finished or not. I lost track of it, but she listens to all of your choices. So shout out, Mom. I guess I don't know.
It's such a great show. Like I feel like did you ever watch it at one point?
No.
All right. No. The only because I think in like a Facebook memory, I made like a Lost status like 15 years ago or whatever, and you had commented on it and like made it seem like you were watching it. So I don't know if you were just being like
might have just Googled something and
you're
just
probably just being a Harry. I think you were trying to spoil it for me, so I didn't spoil Harry Potter for you.
Could be the case.
Memories long forgotten. Well, Mama Hip's got good taste, so good. Glad she's checking it out.
It's true.
All right, but that's all that stuff out of the way. We're here for our top 5 actresses of all time. Now, I was talking to a big fan of the show, Des Russell, and she was really looking forward to this episode. Shout out Des. Happy that we're finally getting to it for her and all the listeners and viewers. But yeah, so we're gonna just go over our honorable mentions real quick, and then we'll each take turns going off our list. We'll talk about major roles and major films that they had been in, as well as nominations and wins of any major awards, and we'll settle on a list of our top 5 of all time out of the 15 people that we have. So with that being said, I'm going to kick it off here with my honorable mentions. So, these don't make my top 5 list, but they were very close. First person I had is Jessica Lange. She was nominated for 6 Oscars and actually won 2 Emmys. She was nominated for 10 and won 3. Probably best well known for American Horror Story. Do you guys watch American Horror Story at all?
I watched like the first 3 or 4 seasons. I think once the Carnival one, I think was the 4th one. And I think I kind of slowed down after that. I tried to give, I don't know which one, where it was like the one where it was supposed to tie everything in. I think it was like season 6 or something. I started that and I was like, I felt like it followed the same formula like each season. But I think the first 3 were really good. But she was great. I mean, she definitely is like a memorable character. Like her characters are memorable through it. She's one of the better parts of it.
Yeah. I totally agree. I think, in fact, the role that she plays in that Carnival season was probably my favorite of them all. But she always plays something different, which is true of, all the American Horror Story actors and actresses. But she is just a standout for me. So I also had Helen Mirren. She was nominated for 4 Oscars and won 1. And Emmys, she was nominated for 11 and won 4. Helen Mirren, is she a dame? I don't remember.
I think I've heard her called as a dame.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
I think
Dame Helen Mirren. That sounds pretty accurate.
Sounds about right.
Look at the.
So we're gonna say she's
credits.
a dame. If the Queen hasn't officially,
she's a dime, if you know what I mean.
If the Queen hasn't officially damed her, we here at the Hot Takes podcast have. She's another one. She's just a classy lady. Anything she shows up in, it's always well acted, and I mean, she's got a ton of roles and a ton of variety within those roles, and she's been at it for quite a while. So I think her body of work speaks for itself. You guys have any thoughts on Helen Mirren?
I love Helen Mirren. I think she was great in The Queen. She's definitely one of those actresses that like I feel like she has a lot of range with doing, like, you do a movie like The Queen and then you end up going ahead and start doing movies like Red, Fast franchise. Like it just seems like she's the kind of actress that like whatever she wants to do, like no one's gonna say no to her, and they're gonna, like, I feel like they'll make a role for her. Like they probably, I bet you, like, she wasn't even, like, they never approached her for like Fast 8. I can see her, or was she in Fast 8 or Fast 9? Was she in both?
Both,
Fast,
I believe.
yeah.
Both. Yeah.
I didn't see Fast 8, but I know Fast 9. But like I feel like they're kind of like approached her and like, look, we got a little role, and she like would jump on it right away. And I think it's cool. I think I like, especially with dramatic actors. I think that when they're able to step into like just kind of a genre / like superhero film, I think that I give a lot of credit to them, especially at like her age, what she's doing. Like I know she probably is a stunt double, but that's got to be like kind of still physically taxing on her body to do some of the scenes. But yeah, I would put her on my top 5, but I think she kind of falls a little bit outside of there. I would agree, more of an honorable mention than the top 5.
Harry, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say I've never actually seen The Queen. Nobody slapped me on the wrist for it. I apologize. But like Chris was saying, I think I've seen more Helen Mirren movies that like aren't like her, star making roles per se. So it's like, when you go to the IMDb and you see like the top 4, or, you see the award winning, nominated movies, I would say there's definitely, or even Emmy nominated, stuff. There's definitely more where I've probably been like, oh yeah, I saw her in Red. I saw her in like Fast and Furious, just stealing that of being like, yeah, I've seen her in these little, parts or in these non-major roles. And of course she kills it and captures, your attention on screen. But no, Helen's great. Love her.
Okay. And then my last two honorable mentions, I will talk. I'll just mention them briefly, but we're going to have further discussions on them later. And that would be Kate Winslet and Charlize Theron. I think both of them are fantastic actresses, especially for modern day, but just got edged out by some of my other people on my personal top five. Hans, who do you have for your honorable mentions?
So my honorable mentions, I also have Dame Helen Mirren. I also put Sally Field on here. I know and to be honest, I don't even think she's been in a movie recently. I think she kind of disappeared. I don't know whether or not she retired, but you look at some of the movies that she was in, like Forrest Gump, who like that's such a memorable role for her. Lincoln are like the two that stand out like for me.
She's another Bandit, one, Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, I'm not even a fan of Mrs. Doubtfire, but you know, I think I actually forgot. Like, I forget that movie really exists sometimes, to be honest. Yeah, I think she's definitely has a lot of good range now. I feel like in her dramatic roles, she kind of is one of those actresses that plays the same character. Like, she's very soft spoken, and like when she like kind of gets intense in some moments, and like she definitely has that like voice that like it's a very like calming voice, like whenever she's on screen, and she like really does drama well. But she can also, you know, like we said, cross over to that like kind of comedy world. Helen Mirren, I have her on my honorable mentions. Cate Blanchett, which you know, I think she has such a great resume, but I know her most from Lord of the Rings. I think she's perfect in that role. I think that was the first movie that I actually had seen her in. But then she you know, she crosses into one of my favorite villains in Thor, which is Hela. And I think she's another one that you can do like a variety of. I know she does comedy in the Ocean's 8 movie. She does, you know, comic book movies. You know, I did not see Blue Jasmine. I heard that is actually like a really good movie. Like, people have told me like I need to check that out. To me, she's always going to be like, you know, my favorite movie of hers is going to be Lord of the Rings series. And her very, very, very extremely small cameo in Hot Fuzz, which if you weren't aware, she is in it. Her face isn't in it, but it's a very cool cameo. Other honorable mention I have is Robin Wright. Gonna go back to the Forrest Gump alum. She is one of the biggest movie villains for me in Forrest Gump. I'm with that debate where she's one of the worst characters in movie history, and she plays it so well. She has great chemistry with Tom Hanks. You know, and as her, like, she is a very troubled character, like, you know, where they start showing her from like the high school ages to where her and Forrest eventually marry. Other great roles, of course, is Princess Bride, which is one of my favorite movies, and she's in a very underrated movie that I remember from my childhood. If you've never seen it, it's called Toys with Robin Williams. It's not that great of a movie, but I remember seeing it when I was like 7 and I loved it. So I actually rewatched it about 2 years ago, and she's good in it. It's a memorable movie for me. I think that was back when she was Robin Wright Penn. So you know, don't get too confused. And my other one is Jennifer Connelly. I only include her. She's actually, I might have got a little bit more in my dipped into my Fave 5 instead of top 5. But you know, Jennifer Connelly's been around for almost like 30 years. I think she started in the 80s or early 90s with like with Labyrinth, Rocketeer. Then she kind of goes and does you know, does a bunch of 90s movies, does A Beautiful Mind, which is one of my favorite movies. I for chick flicks, you know, I'll just go out and say it. He's just not that into you. Not a bad movie. It's pretty all right. She's all right in it. And of course, she's in the MCU, which most actors and actresses eventually find their way there. So with
not
her
the
husband,
official one.
with her, what?
Isn't she?
She does the voice of Friday.
Get out of here!
Yep,
I never knew that.
Her and her hubby, Paul Bettany, doing robot voices.
I thought you were talking about Ang Lee's Hulk, and I'm like, that's not MCU.
No, I forgot that movie was even in this reality. Yeah. But no, she does the voice of Friday. So, which is funny because Paul Bettany does the voice of Vision and Jarvis. Right. So, but those are my honorable mentions. Guys, fire away. I know we talked briefly about Jennifer Connelly and the looks I got when I mentioned her. So, I'll take whatever you throw at me.
Harry, you want to go first?
I don't have too much. I think there's a lot of good choices there, a lot of variety. It seems like if you were in Forrest Gump, you're on this list. But yeah, no, solid picks. No major complaints. I'll let Greg do the firing if that's what he would like to do.
Yeah, I don't have too much. Jennifer Connelly, she was good in A Beautiful Mind. Everything else kind of just blurs together.
The Rocketeer.
I've never seen it.
What?
I know. Yeah.
And it's not that great of a movie. If you're above the age of 15, I think.
Oh, this is the last episode I'm recording with you guys.
So
I have heard a lot of good things about The Rocketeer, but
one of my favorite movies.
What were you gonna say here?
I was gonna say, so doing some Googling while Chris was talking because I thought he was wrong. Kerry Condon, does she do the voice for Friday?
Well, I don't know. Is that what it says?
Yeah.
All right. Then Jennifer Connelly does the voice of Saw. I thought it was Friday in the MCU.
Well, you can Google it when we get some time later. But yeah, just to correct that in case if anyone is sitting there saying no way, that is wrong. So
I was gonna say because that doesn't sound like her, but then again, maybe she's some great actress because she made it on Hans's top 5 list. So
listen.
Yeah, so Jennifer Connelly is kind of like for me, and Robin Wright, I will say she plays great at Unlikable. I remember her from Unbreakable. She played the wife.
She plays Bruce Willis's wife. Yep.
Yeah, and she was kind of annoying in that also.
I don't see what the problem is.
All right, I already looked it in. She's Karen, or the suit lady from Spider-Man Homecoming. So just the voice of the suit in Homecoming.
Oh, okay.
I assumed that was Friday as well. So I apologize.
Gotcha.
It was from
all
Spider-Man
these darn
Homecoming.
AI systems.
She was in
That's a fair
she's in the MCU.
Okay. Right. Fair enough.
Right.
Who isn't? It's like a rite of passage.
Exactly.
But yeah, other than those, I think your honorable mentions are pretty good. Harry, who do you have?
Yeah, so my honorable mentions, as what's mentioned a lot of times on this pod, is that I tend to favor older films. I'm a huge Criterion guy. I say things that you guys look at me and say, Stacey Adams from the 40s when they had those moving pictures. So yeah,
bust out the time machine, kids. We're going back to the Nickelodeon.
We're going back in time. So my first nominee is just because of a movie I watched probably in the last 3 months. Barbara Stanwyck. Now, again, the reason why she didn't make my list is I don't have enough of her filmography. And she, she's obviously left this earth and is gone. So she passed away in 1990. But two movies that really, I find it funny. We're doing an all-time list. We're not doing Fave 5. And if we were doing a Fave 5, I probably would mention it anyway, because in the movie, it's not All About Eve. My apologies, because that's a different movie there for it. But she's in Double Indemnity. Wow, I'm stuttering already on the movie title, so that's great.
Don't be nervous, my guy.
No, I'm not. But she's in that movie, Alfred Hitchcock movie. Really great film. If you've ever seen that, have you guys ever seen that one?
Nope,
I have not. I'm familiar with her name. I'll give you that, but I don't think I've seen anything with her in it.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes, I have heard of her name. I will.
Okay.
At least agree to that.
She later on in life she did a lot of like TV and stuff like that. So there was a lot of things where she was, involved in a bunch of those series in the late 60s and 70s and stuff like that. But The Lady Eve. So The Lady Eve was a 1941 movie. Just talking about that. Listen, it's a great film, dude. Don't knock it until you watch it.
I won't. I'll watch it.
You probably won't watch it. It's fine. It's You guys are such haters, man. It makes it so hard to talk about
Continue.
things I love.
Go ahead.
So anyway,
I'm sorry.
so
I will not laugh.
It's a Preston Sturges film. If you ever seen any Preston Sturges films, you know how fun it is and enjoyable. But anyway, she plays a really independent woman and tricks, Henry Fonda's character into, trying to fall in love with her. And it's a really fun, good movie. I would highly suggest that. So she made my list. She's been also nominated for Oscars 4 times as well. Next on my list is Elizabeth Taylor. So Elizabeth Taylor, as you guys may or may not know, was the reason why I didn't put her on this list was almost the reason why I did put her on this list, because this movie was a failure. Cleopatra, biggest movie probably Elizabeth Taylor's known for, came out in 1963. It was 3 hours and 15 minutes long. It was supposed to be about 2 movies when they were writing it, but they made a change and made it 1 movie. And adjusted for inflation, this is one of the most expensive movies ever made. It was budgeted for $44 million back then in the 60s when they were making it, which is equivalent now to $370 million in 2020. So I just found that stat to be mind-boggling and blew me away. But that kind of hurts your case, I think, in a way, because that movie is kind of considered a failure and it's one of your biggest known movies. But she was also in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, which she did win an Oscar for. She was also nominated a couple times as well. Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. She's really good in that as well, if you've ever seen that movie. And then the movie that really stuck out to me was I watched it in a film class one year, was called A Place in the Sun. She's only 19 in that film, and she really kind of steals the movie away. It's about this young guy who, is pretty much an idiot and makes a mistake of marrying the wrong girl. And then, Elizabeth Taylor's character comes around, and she really steals the movie. And she's one of the, she was on the honorable mentions for me. Another one, I'm not going to mention too much about it because we'll talk about her later. Frances McDormand. She's on one of our lists. I'm not going to spoil who it is, but you'll see. And Ingrid Bergman. Problem with Ingrid Bergman is I haven't seen enough of her films. Obviously, she was in Casablanca, which I think everybody, either knows about, even if you haven't seen it, and how highly regarded that movie is. But she's one of the few actresses who's only won 3 Academy Awards, and she's been nominated 7 times. So shout outs to her for it. So yeah, those are my nominees, guys. Just let me know you haven't seen any of the movies, and we'll move on.
That was the sound of me closing the history books.
Oh, Jesus.
No, I mean, I've heard of all of these actresses, and many of the movies that you mentioned, I haven't seen them. I gotta admit, I have a massive just valley of emptiness when it comes to movies like pre-60s. So but some of those A Place in the Sun, was it, you said? That sounds pretty good. That sounds like
I mean, listen, there's some real gems that you can find going back that far. With, like I said, with Preston Sturges films, like, just sometimes you just need to find the right director, the right actress or actor, like Humphrey Bogart, Ingrid Bergman, and just kind of jump around from there to find things that hit, and that slap, as the kids say today. You funky kids out there. And
that was our okay boomer segment.
I mean, yeah, right. I'm okay boomer this week. But the other thing I was going to say is, I mean, it's really tough to find, actresses that really stand out prior to, later on in film history. Once you get past the 70s, you start to see more like Meryl Streep and things of that nature. But it really is slim pickings there. And I mean, we'll talk a little bit more about it with our lists. But yeah, I just wanted to shout out some of the OGs, as they say. Hans, what do you got? What do you got for me?
The only movie I've seen that you mentioned was Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, that I watched in like a film and
wild ride, I will say. Yeah.
I don't, and that was over 10 years ago, so I don't remember too much, but I remember
it's also based on
watching it. Everyone else other than like Frances McDormand, I've heard of, but I've seen Frances McDormand movies than anyone else on this list. I haven't seen Casablanca, but based on like from the nominations that you told us that they got, I'm sure they were worthy of them at the time. But yeah, I haven't. I'm with Greg. A lot of movies before, like, I'm even before like 1975 that don't really, like, I feel like if it's not the Wizard of Oz or Ten Commandments. I haven't seen it.
Big shout.
Got those
Big
Easter
shout.
Sunday
Big shout out to
specials.
my film heads out there.
Yeah. I got my October covered with Wizard of Oz and the April covered with Ten Commandments.
All right. Well, those are some good honorable mentions, everybody. But we are going to move on to the top 5 lists themselves. So I'll kick it off here. My first nominee for top 5 is Kathy Bates. Oscar nominated 4 times, once for a leading actress, 3 times for supporting, and she won for lead actress in Misery. Emmy nominated 13 times, won for best guest actress in a comedy for, I guess, a 1-episode shot in 2.5 Men. Some famous roles or movies you might know her from: Misery in 1990, Fried Green Tomatoes, Titanic. She was Unsinkable Molly Brown. About Schmidt, which was one of the performances she was nominated for the Oscars. 6 Feet Under, Revolutionary Road. She was The Office, Joe Bennett, classic character. American Horror Story. She's been a ton of different characters in that. Again, we mentioned it being an anthology series, and Richard Jewell, which was another movie she was nominated for Oscars. So, man, she is she's just an awesome almost like character actress. She's really like a chameleon and sinks into these roles. And while she may not have any major, I guess, starring roles other than Misery that pop to mind, she plays all these great characters in all these great movies. And that is definitely noticeable for me. And that's why I think she lands in the top 5 for me. What do you guys think about Kathy Bates?
Yeah, I mean, the one movie you forgot that sticks out for me is Blindside. That I actually forgot.
Yeah.
She was great in that. The Waterboy, which I don't like. The Waterboy. I think the Waterboy is a terrible movie. But she's enjoyable in it, as a supporting character. She's definitely like she's a great supporting, like a supporting actress. And I think that like a lot, like other Misery scared the hell out of me. And it's a terrifying, like, it's not like a ghost scary kind of, like, it's a great suspense. And I read the book, and it's just like she brings that like character like to life, where it's just like I would never hope I was ever in that situation. Like, I wouldn't even want to be in the same room as someone like that. Excuse me. But as she gets, like, she's been around for forever, and I forgot about like her. As many times as I've rewatched The Office, I forgot she had like a small role like in a handful of episodes as Joe Bennett. But she's been around forever, and there's a reason, like, she's still getting work. She's a great supporting actress. I would love to see her kind of come back and maybe like some kind of a lead role, and see. But I feel like the last time I've actually seen her anything was at least like anything major was, I didn't see Richard Jewell, was probably, I would say The Office was the last like big thing I've seen her in. So I think that like she's due for another like kind of to come back in like a bigger role. But I would agree in putting her in the conversation of a top 5. But yeah, Harry, what are your thoughts on good old Kathy?
Yeah, no, I mean, she definitely has the resume to be on this list, for sure. I mean, especially once you add in some of the TV stuff, which, I don't know if we talked enough about when considering our top 5 actors when we did that. But like I was mentioning in the beginning of the pod, like for some of these actresses, for me, it's like I've probably missed a lot of their best work. Like I've never seen Misery. I've never seen all of Titanic front to back. Like, of course, we all had that second VHS tape.
Just watch watch tape 2. That's all you need.
Or like it's been on TNT or various channels where it's like, oh, here's 20 minutes of Titanic. I'll watch until the next commercial break. So for me, I feel like I haven't seen her in her best roles, but like Greg mentioned, she's definitely done a lot of things that, keep you guessing as to what kind of character she's playing, good or bad, or, is there a hidden agenda behind that, or a little bit of a crazy person? Like I know, what Misery is. But I think she's got a solid case to make. But for me, I'd probably leave it up to you guys. I would vote no, because I haven't seen a lot of her best work per se.
Okay. That's fair. Well, obviously I'm going to vote yes. So hands.
I'm a better driver I'm a better driver because of Misery. because I never want to end up in that kind of situation.
Yeah, one Chris's famous podcast, and he ends up in a road crash where
we're gonna get one crazy listener is gonna like hobble my foot, and then just because I didn't include Kathy Bates. I'm gonna say no right now. She's definitely, I would revisit and kind of think about, like, we had a conversation with like Jack Nicholson, like whether or not we wanted to include him, and I'll keep him on like keep her on a maybe list. But I think she might kind of break that top 5, but once we get to the list, I'll consider.
I would say this is where we make the short list. So if you think that she deserves to be on that, then I would say you need to say yes to her. That would be my case. Because otherwise we're not discussing her when we get to the end, unless we don't have 5, then we got to come back. But I'm pretty sure we're gonna have 5.
True. I would put her on the list then. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, I'll mark it down and we can revisit later as needed. Okay, moving on. Harry, who you got?
I think we're going to just get this one out of the way. This individual is on each of our lists, and it's Meryl Streep, nominated a whopping 21 times. I think she's been in 90-ish movies, maybe even a little bit more. So high usage for nominations for Meryl.
I feel like that number's freakishly small. Like, I feel like she's been in literally at least 300 movies.
I might have even counted wrong. That could be a possibility too. But 17 leading roles, a couple for supporting. She's won 3 times. So as we discussed a little bit earlier with wins, Ingrid Bergman, her, and I believe Frances are the only 3-time Oscar winners for actresses, throughout both the categories of leading and supporting. She won for The Iron Lady, Sophie's Choice, and Kramer vs. Kramer. She's also, she really gives movies, I think, with the big thing with Meryl Streep is when she's in a movie, it really gives the movie prestige. If you look back at a lot of her movies over I would say the last 5 to 10 years, because I think The Iron Lady was 2011. So ever since then, I don't think she's really been going for that Oscar. I won't even say that, just like in that star-making role for it. But yeah, she definitely gives movies prestige, when she's ever, casted them. And she's been in a lot of other great movies. I'll let you guys talk about some that you guys think are her favorites. And then I'll come back with my thought on Meryl Streep, towards the end. But Hans, why did she make your list?
I feel like you had to put her on. Like she's in everything else. It's like she really does like show up. Like she's like the opposite of Daniel Day-Lewis in terms of like Daniel Day-Lewis makes one movie every 7 years, and I feel like Meryl Streep makes 7 movies in 1 year, and that's not a bad thing. Like her resume goes all the way, like goes pretty far back, and she's in bad movies, but I don't think she's ever puts in a bad performance. I mean, when I went on IMDb, I think her first thing was like in the 70s. But she's still like cranking movies out like crazy. Like, and she recently, the most recent thing I saw her in was I don't know if you guys have watched it, Big Little Lies. She's in 2nd season of Big Little Lies. She is a horrifying character. Like, she's very it's not a scary show, but what she brings to she's the mother of one of the characters, and it's just like she's so soft spoken through the whole thing. It's very like it's kind of terrifying. But then like she does like stuff like little stuff. Like, I feel like you'll never see like Daniel Day-Lewis do like musicals like Into the Woods or Mamma Mia and stuff like that. And like those are movies that she enjoys doing. And she just I feel like she's one of those actresses that's like, you hear other actors and actresses say like, oh, I only took the role because I needed a new house, or the offer was there. I feel like she just likes to work in like different genres. Like, you see her in fantasy, like history movies, like dramatic roles, comedies. I feel like it'd be like a crime to not include her on the ballot. Like, if you did a top 10 of actors and actresses, she would easily crack the top 5, like between both actors and actresses. So, Greg, what do you think?
Fair points. I mean, she's just one of those well-rounded, great actresses. I mean, everything she shows up in, whether it's a serious role or something for fun, she puts in the performance. And just some other movies that we didn't mention, Julie and Julia. I actually really love that movie. I thought it was really well done. Fantastic Mr. Fox. She does the voice for Mrs. Fox.
Yep.
Devil Wears Prada, the Mamma Mia movies you mentioned. I mean, it goes on and on. The Post. I mean, she was phenomenal in that. So yeah, there's just a lot of stuff. She's got such a wide variety and filmography, and it's really, her performances are reflected in being nominated so many times. I feel like she's nominated basically every other year for an Oscar. But yeah, so all of those things combined, I think she deserves to be in the list. I'm gonna vote yay for putting her in the top 5.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I mean, we're talking about with a longevity, it's like Kramer versus Kramer, when she was nominated, or when she, I believe when she won for her supporting role in that, supporting role in that. That was 1979, and then she's winning in 2011 for The Iron Lady. So yeah, I was gonna say definitely for her, but I was also thinking about her from the aspect, because I was looking, like I said, the last 10 years, it's almost like she's giving more movies, box office gross, or Meryl Streep's in that, like we got to go see it, as opposed to actually making something that's like, I want to say either a challenge or something that people are going to be like, wow, what a performance. And so I was thinking about the movie The Father with Anthony Hopkins. Now she's a little bit younger than Anthony Hopkins, but like, I'm wondering when her next, kind of the father role of a movie that, she takes on that, might mean something to her. And I mean, I think this, dives into a deeper problem with, I would say, female actresses, throughout, where it's like, who's writing these stories for these people, and this is some of the problems with Hollywood, and what I was alluding to a little bit earlier, where it's like, like who's writing the 80-year-old, story, about, a woman, because I think Meryl's in her 80s now. So like, who's writing that for her to be able to be in it? So maybe
I feel like Diane Keaton gets all those roles.
Yeah, that's not a bad shout. But see, she usually does those like silly, like, I don't know, those silly like comedies where it's like, So I'll be interested to see that, like the high prestige, movies that I always rave on about. So
Diane Keaton plays the same character in every. She's like the 80s and 90s Melissa McCarthy.
Well,
it's an interesting analogy.
Yeah, and none of you said I was wrong.
No, that is accurate.
She's always wearing the same hat too.
All right. Well, moving on. We added Meryl Streep to the list. Hans, who you got for us?
I'm gonna go with Nicole Kidman. So very, and I have a feeling that where this is gonna go. But I'm gonna read off a couple of her movies. Big Little Lies TV show on HBO. I believe she won an Emmy for that. She starred alongside another fantastic Meryl Streep performance. I'm gonna go The Others, which I mentioned on our horror podcast. Eyes Wide Shut, which I've only seen once. I'll never see it again. I don't need to ever see it again. I liked it, but I'm just gonna, I feel like that was the kind of role that that's kind of movie I'd never have to go back and rewatch. But I remember her and Tom Cruise are great in it. Batman Forever. I'm just gonna keep my peace with that one because we've discussed that in before. She's a great leading Bat.
Are you trying to sell us on Nicole Kidman, or are you trying not to sell us?
Days of Thunder, which is one of the best movies of all time. If you haven't seen it, have you? No, you haven't, have you?
I did.
I've seen like Top Gun, so it's
in the
like
early
the
90s.
thing.
Yeah, it's not the same thing. Now let's get a little serious. Cold Mountain. If you haven't seen that, she's fantastic in Cold Mountain. She won a nomination for The Hours. I think she definitely has a lot of. I didn't know she was actually like Australian for the longest time. I don't even know if she might be British, but just gonna keep that and put that aside because she plays a Russian in her new show, Nine Perfect Strangers. So she's like really good at accents. But that aside, no, I think she does have a lot of range. Like and she's another one where like even though her movies like are. She might not be in the best movies like Batman Forever, which is not like critically acclaimed, but she's definitely, I'd say critically acclaimed, not Chris acclaimed. I think that she definitely has a lot of range where I think that she brings a lot to like a lot of roles where like she does bring when she does intense kind of scenes, like she does intense very well. She does horror movie like the other she's great in. But I think that she definitely like plays like damaged characters very well, which a lot of her movies like she plays some kind of like with some kind of weird past or whatever. She was fantastic. I did see The Hours, which is one of the like probably the most recent thing other outside of TV that I saw her in, which I love that. Cold Mountain, I recommend going to check out. But she's always a standout for me. I think I've seen like most of her movies. I'd include it on like on, my list, but I feel like she's always been like kind of a go-to for me whenever she's releasing something. But yeah, I know what you guys are gonna say, but if you want to just hammer me down, go ahead.
Wow. You want to go first, Sarah, or you want me to?
No, you can go ahead first.
Thank you.
So not a huge Nicole Kidman fan. I feel the opposite. I don't think she does have a ton of range. And maybe it's because of her accent. Like her American accent it's this very slow and airy and breathy accent, and it's always the same in every movie. I don't know. It just, but don't get me wrong, she does have some bangers as far as movies go. Cold Mountain I absolutely love, so I'm happy that you kind of drilled on that.
One I didn't even include, The Railway Man, which if you haven't seen that with Colin Firth, that is a fantastic movie. And she's great in it. I think that's got who's else? I forget who else is in that movie. The guy who played Scorpion in not Colin Firth, who played Scorpion in
isn't that your boy Joe
Mortal
Tassin?
No, he played Sub-Zero.
Oh.
I don't know. I can't think of his name right now.
Anyway, there was another movie which highly recommend to our faithful listeners out there that you didn't mention that I did really like her performance in, and that was Lion with Dev Patel. I thought that was a really, really good movie. Great performance from her. Highly recommend checking that out. As for the rest of it, I mean, yeah, she was okay in Eyes Wide Shut. I actually just watched that for the first time recently, like maybe within the last 6 months. But beyond that, I don't see it from her. She is not worthy in my eyes to be on this list. Harry, what do you think?
That's fair.
I mean, I think Greg's just voicing his opinion, Chris. I don't think he's ragging on you as much as he just doesn't prefer Nicole Kidman. Right. I think I'm not going to be that guy, but I feel like I fall in between the middle of you. I would say I wouldn't put her on this list, and I don't think I would move her to the top 5, but I don't feel as strongly as Greg does about how much he doesn't like her. But I mean, so she was in a film recently in 2018 called Boy Erased. Let us forget, be jumping into the comic book world. She was in Aquaman as well. But a film, Boy Erased, she was good in. Also, we can't forget Paddington. Where my Paddington head's at. High fives all around. Don't know how you guys forgot that one. But that's okay. I'll let it slide. And then a movie in 2013 that I really enjoyed, Stoker. I think it's more enjoyable for other performances in the movie, but she is also in that as well. She's really done a big move to TV, I would say, in the last 5 years or so, which is interesting. Chris talked a little bit about it with 9 Perfect Strangers. She was on HBO Big Little Lies, The Undoing, which I think was with Hugh Grant. Yeah, I think it was with Hugh Grant. Yep. And she was also in Top of the Lake, a TV series in 2017, which if you hadn't seen it, I think she's in the 2nd season of it, but Top of the Lake, it stars Elizabeth Moss. Really, really good. Or at least the 1st season. I never saw the 2nd one. But anywho's it. Yeah, I would say she just misses for me. But, I think, and even with the resume, if we want to get down to nitty gritty with Oscars and stuff like that, she has won one for it, but she's only been nominated 4 times. She did win an actress role for The Hours. And she was really good in Cold Mountain, like you guys mentioned as well. So those are my thoughts. Nothing she doesn't blow me away. She doesn't stand out to me, but yeah, definitely.
I feel like maybe I came off a little harshly. I don't think.
Yeah, you came out firing like Harry did.
Well, listen,
on Will Smith.
Well, I
wouldn't say that.
I don't think she's a terrible actress. She just comes across a little bland
Not
for
your
me
cup of tea. Not your
most
cup
of
of
the
tea.
time. And then occasionally she'll put out something that is like awesome. So it's just not enough consistency for me to be like, yeah, she belongs in here.
Right.
All right. So
I'll agree with that. I'll take that. That's fine. If she's not on the list.
So, all right. So we're leaving her off the list.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Moving on from Nicole Kidman. Up next, I have Viola Davis.
Nice.
Oscar nominated 4 times, twice for leading role, twice for supporting. She won for supporting in Fences. Emmy nominated 5 times, one for best lead in How to Get Away with Murder. Some of her big hits or movies you might have seen her in: Antoine Fisher, Solaris, Get Rich or Die Trying, Eat, Pray, Love, The Help, Prisoners, Get On Up, Suicide Squad, Fences, How to Get Away with Murder, like we mentioned, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom most recently, and The Suicide Squad. So she's another one mentioned. She's just she can play a variety of roles, and you'll probably hear me say this multiple times, but I think that's the mark of a great actor or actress. Just being able to dive into different types of characters and just really knock them out of the park with each one. I mean, what do you guys think?
Hey, you can take this.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, I'm not a huge TV watcher as far as it comes to like half-an-hour shows, so never really saw How to Get Away with Murder, but obviously she's been killing it on there. As you mentioned, with winning for that and how long it's. I think it just finished a couple years back, maybe. But that one's definitely shows. But like I think you said it right, Greg. I think she has a ton of range. I think she's a forgotten name a lot of times, and she's a forgotten name on my list. Personally, when it comes to what people think is a great actress. And definitely loved her in Prisoners. Obviously we've talked about Suicide Squad on the pod. Fences, she was great in that alongside Denzel. I mean, listen, we don't even have theater on there as well, and she's definitely done a lot of good things there. So yeah, she would definitely deserves to be on the short list. Yeah, would love to put Viola up there.
Hans?
I would include her because there's a lot of movies on here that I kind of like. I saw Solaris and Antoine Fisher like back when they were released. Like it's been a while since I've seen, so I can't really speak too much. But I've seen The Help. I really enjoy The Help. Suicide Squad. I think she's like a memorable part. Like I mean, I know what they did with the new one and the one from 2016 and 2021. They wanted to bring some of the old characters back, like they did with like Margot Robbie. And I think like the reason they brought her back was she did such a good job with the first one. I mean, she is one of the stronger parts of the 2016 movie. I watched the first season of How to Get Away with Murder. It was a good show. I think there was a lot of stuff that was out that I didn't stick with it. But I think it might be on Netflix or one of their streaming things now where I can go back and watch. I did watch last month Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which is a phenomenal movie. I think one of the reasons I'll admit I did go to watch it was because of Chadwick Boseman, but she was definitely a standout in it. But she definitely, like you had said, Greg, when you're able to play different characters in different roles, I think that says a lot. Like we've said that with our top actors list, and her resume is really like all over the place in a good way, with her range. I haven't seen Fences. I've heard really like phenomenal things with it. But I've been wanting to go back and watch. But I would include her, but with what I've seen, with the more recent stuff that I've seen her in, I would like to go back and rewatch like Antoine Fisher and Get Rich or Die Trying and Eat, Pray, Love. I don't think I saw. I think that was more along the lines of I think Julia Roberts might have killed that for me. Yeah, I would include her on this list. I left her off mine, but there's with what you provided and like looking at some of the movies, like just looking back, she is a standout in all of them, and she definitely has that range to be considered in the top 5. So
Okay.
I was also going to say too, really quick. I don't know why I drew a brain fart, but Widows, 2018 Steve McQueen's movie.
I did not see that.
Highly underrated movie that I think is fantastic, but it didn't get a lot of love and didn't make a lot of movie. But she's the star in that, and she is absolutely, amazing in it, as well as everyone else. I feel in the movie, but yeah, she's powerful in that movie.
Okay. All right, so putting it up to vote, I'm going to say yes. Hair.
Yay.
Yes.
I'll go yes.
All right.
Go yeah.
So Miss Viola Davis makes it onto the list. Okay, moving on. Hair, who you got next for us?
So next nomination, I'm going to steal off of Hanratty's list as well for this nomination, just to knock it out back to back, is going to be Kate Winslet. So she's been nominated 7 times, 4 for leading, 3 for supporting. She's 1 for leading role in The Reader. So yeah, Kate Winslet feels like somebody who's just been around forever. But actually, I don't want to say has been around forever, but just feels like she's been in our lives for ever. So most recently she was in Mayor of Easttown on HBO. So if we were doing a top 5 list of shows for the year, that would be definitely on there for me. It actually takes place in a town, in Delaware County, not too far away from our area. Delco, shout out. Don't know if it's good or bad, but Mayor of Easttown takes place in there, and she does a fantastic job in that. Hasn't been in the limelight as far as carrying something for a while, but she was in Steve Jobs. Another movie that I really enjoyed, Contagion. Not a huge role in that because that has a pretty good cast in it. Revolutionary Road, which is an uber, I don't want to say depressing movie, but if you're married, might be one to skip. Wouldn't put it on there to enjoy. The Holiday, shout out to Tim, and Dom. They love The Holiday. And also Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which I think is, I was, how old was I? I was 18, I think, 16 when that movie came out. And, that's one of those in the early 2000s where it was like, dude, you didn't see Eternal Sunshine. And, she's really great in that as well. So that's my shout for Kate Winslet. Chris, I'll let you kind of take it with some of your choices for her.
You left out a couple movies that I like that stand out for me with her. Number one, Collateral Beauty, has your boy in it, Will Smith.
Well, I mean, listen, I did miss the big one with her with Titanic purposely because I mean, listen, we've
only
Titanic.
seen tape 2.
I've only seen tape 2. I've seen the 20 minutes maybe in the beginning where it's draw me. But yeah.
I can tell you now you're not going to like Collateral Beauty only because it's got this is the kind of thing you would say this is a Chris movie. I'm pretty sure
I've seen that movie too.
All right. Finding Neverland, which I think is a very highly underrated movie about the story of Peter Pan and how that kind of came to light. Yeah. But I think she's definitely I'm glad. I want to go back and watch Mayor of Easttown because I heard she's phenomenal in that. It has nothing to do with the Delco connection, but she doesn't. I feel like she doesn't make a lot of movies, but when she does, her resume is not as big as Meryl Streep's. But I feel like when she makes movies, she picks them where she knows that it's something that's kind of, I don't want to say special to her, but ones that she know that she's going to put her all into it. And Eternal Sunshine is one of my favorite movies, and it's one of my favorite Jim Carrey movies. I put that above some of his comedies. But Revolutionary Road, that's if you're in a good mood, don't watch it. That'll kill it really quick. And Titanic, I'm not a fan of Titanic overall, but I think she's phenomenal in it, and she has been around for over 20 years, at least that I can think of. And I feel like when she just shows up in movies, I think she really gives it her all. I know she was in 999, which I saw. I saw on IMDb. I forgot she was in that. But yeah, I think Titanic really lifted her career, and I think since then she kind of carefully picks what she's in. I mean, she still shows up a bunch, but I think like when she's leading and I feel like whenever she's in a movie, she's up for some kind of award, like where she's leading. Like I think she was nominated for pretty much like Revolutionary Road, Titanic. God, what was the one I think we just talked about? Was she not? She might have been nominated for Jobs too, Steve Jobs. Not sure.
I'll take a look for you, but yeah.
Yeah, thanks. And Contagion, which is a very too realistic movie now, which it's a great movie, but it's been I won't rewatch that now. So the past 16 months have kind of set that to never watch again.
Yeah, she was nominated for Jobs.
Yeah. Greg, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, she is a great actress. You guys both have her on your list. I had her on my honorable mentions. I'll throw in one other movie that I loved her performance in, and I love the movie, and I believe I mentioned it recently, although I don't remember on which pod, but The Mountain Between Us with her and Idris.
Oh yeah,
you did mention that.
Another standout movie that I really enjoyed.
I missed that one.
Yeah, it's on Hulu, so go check it out.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, you guys have covered all the bases with Cate. She's just she's tremendous. And Revolutionary Road, it's funny that you guys are joking about it. I watched it for the first time about a month ago because I was, again, trying to round out bases. And boy, yeah, it is certainly depressing.
I do feel like a month ago you weren't as happy as you are now, Greg.
For sure. Not while I was watching that movie. I was like, oh boy. It was very depressing, but her performance again, great. Great performance. So yeah, I mean, not much more to say on this end other than I think it's a great pick by both of you guys. So Let's put it up to a vote. Hands?
I say yes.
Okay, Hair?
I think we got to get one hand-ready choice in there tonight. So yeah, I'm gonna go with a yes.
Yeah, because I have a feeling my next one's not getting on there either.
All right, and I'm gonna vote yay as well. So Kate Winslet makes it on the list. She is a damn fine actress. All right, so moving on, Hans, who's your next pick?
So I went with this.
I mean,
okay. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say we could skip you and jump back to Greg if you want to use that as one of your choices.
No, I'm not closing out with that. I'm gonna go with who I think is one of the best actresses, like in her kind of filmography, is Natalie Portman.
Nice.
She has been. I don't know if it was her first leading role, but Leon the Professional, which is almost a 1994, I would say almost a damn near perfect movie. And I really only say that probably about like maybe 5 or 10 movies out of the millions that have been made. I thought she had been nominated for that. I don't think she was, but I'm going to confirm that. But she's, she plays, and we go use that word range again. She goes from a movie like Leon the Professional. She does a bunch of dramatic roles. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Closer. But that is a very dark movie as well.
It's a dark one.
Jude Law and Julia Roberts and Clive Owen. That has that's a pretty dark movie. It kind of falls into Revolutionary Road, just not as intense. Then she goes into, she does a bunch of, she does a lot of, sci-fi and comic book with V for Vendetta, which is one of my top 5 favorite comic book movies. I adore that movie. I think she's great in it. As much as the prequel trilogy is kind of crapped on over the years, she's good in it. I don't think she's the problem. I think, a lot of it had to do with like the script. I think that kind of did a lot for her and Hayden. We can all agree some of that writing was not good. But then I think she like peaked a little bit with Black Swan, which you guys, I'm sure you both have seen it. It's probably, I would say that's her best performance. It's a very intense movie. Her and Mila, however you want to say it, Mila Kunis, they play each other off each other so well. And I think like, I didn't care one little bit about ballet. I still don't, but for at least 2 hours in that movie, I did. And I think her character, like, I think both of them like really draw you into the movie, and how she played. Like, I feel like I'm pretty sure she, she didn't go to Juilliard, she went to Harvard. But I don't know if she took like an acting degree from Harvard. I don't know if they have acting degrees at Harvard.
Put that on the resume.
Yeah, exactly. That's not gonna hurt. But I think she's been around for so long, and I think she's another one that, she may not necessarily like the project, but it like really gives it her all in pretty much everything that she does. I haven't seen a bad performance from her. The first movie I saw from her outside of Leon was I kind of like brought to my attention was either Mars Attacks. If you haven't seen that, it's a very underrated Tim Burton movie. And Garden State, which is in one of my top 10 favorite movies. But yeah, I think she's definitely one of those like dedicated actresses where, I've heard her say in the past, in interviews, like she might not like, she's like, oh, well, the story didn't interest me or whatever, but she's still like kind of, I feel like she's still nailed, almost every role she's been in. So also, Your Highness, an underrated comedy. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's a very weird movie.
It's solid.
Really? You like it?
Yeah, who doesn't like Your Highness? Is that a bad take?
I feel like most people I say have been like,
I don't think it's in.
Yeah. You think it's underappreciated? That's all I need.
I think so.
Even if I don't get another one of my actresses on this list, that's all I need is the fact that you say it's underappreciated.
You just made his night.
I know.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, you make a pretty strong case for Natalie. For me with her, it's kind of similar to Nicole Kidman. It's about consistency. I do think she's a better actress than Nicole Kidman for sure. But some of these roles, she either like really knocks it out of the park, or it's just kind of there. You mentioned the prequel trilogy, and it could be the material that she's given, and the same could be said for the Thor movies, which I noticed you didn't mention. But that's also,
I was careful.
Yes. But that's also her choice. She chose those roles. You know what I mean? I'm sure she was given a script in advance and was able to peruse. So if she can't elevate that stuff, then it is what it is. I think she's a really good actress, though. And I mean, Black Swan, I would agree. I think she kind of peaked with that. I haven't seen quite that level of a performance out of her since then, but doesn't mean she's not capable of it. I think it's just finding the right material.
And Jackie, I know she was nominated for that. I didn't see it, but I heard she was nominated for it, so I'm sure she was solid in it.
A little Oscar baity.
Harry, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, I think Natalie Portman, when I was looking through the list, I think she's probably the youngest one we have on here. I think she just turned 40. I think she was born in 81. So, I mean, obviously she has the, typical Marvel. You got to have it on your list. Avengers, / the Thor movies. Been in a Star Wars, series, with the prequel movies, which, I don't think we need to dive too much into that. We could save for a future Star Wars pod. A couple movies she's done recently, again, it's kind of one of those things of like, I think Greg was saying a little bit about like hit or miss. She did a movie called Lucy in the Sky, which I know I didn't see. I don't know many people who did, but that was also during kind of COVID time, kind of got mixed around a little bit. Annihilation, which I'm surprised, I don't know if Chris mentioned, but that was, a solid performance, but I feel like, it wasn't, I think the movie was more of a standout than her in it. And a weird movie, which I saw at the film festival a couple years back, Vox Lux, which is a pretty intense movie and deals with some heavy stuff. But there's a diner scene with her in that movie where she absolutely, I think, kind of, really stands out and shows her range. So, for me, I don't know if she makes this list based off of some of the names we've already thrown out. But Chris mentioned a lot of the good movies there for her. So I think she does have the case. I'd be interested to see what the next 5 to 10 years, pulls for her, because I could definitely see another performance, that goes through there for it.
The MCU. It's probably what the next 5 years
I hope
is
not.
going to be.
Listen, I hope not, man. I hope not. I hope the MCU's done in 5 years, to be honest.
Dude, Love and Thunder, man. She's going to be awesome in it. She got Taika behind her now.
Listen, I 100% agree. I hope she gets the starring role and I hope more women, more diversity is included in those movies. But I don't know. I'm on a Marvel right now, so
don't you dare
I'll save
ask
that
for
for
it to
another
end.
pod. Listen, we gotta have other things. Let's get some art out here, man. Where's my Criterion? Where's my?
We can
Rich
still
movie
have
theater?
art.
Let's go.
They can coexist simultaneously. It's not like, yeah. All right, so let's put Miss Portman up to vote. Hands.
I mean, I'm gonna say yes because she's on my list. So,
Okay.
Yes.
Hair.
I'm gonna say just outside for me.
Okay, and I'm gonna go no as well, but I do think she was a valiant pick there. You look defeated. Don't look defeated. You had a good choice.
I'm all right.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna rotate back to me now. My next pick is Sigourney Weaver. She was Oscar nominated 3 times, twice for a leading role, once for supporting role. Emmy nominated 4 times. Lots of franchise work here. We have Alien, Ghostbusters, Aliens in '86. She had Gorillas in the Mist and Working Girl, which I believe were 2 movies she was nominated for. She was nominated for Best Lead and Best Supporting Actress the same year, '88, for those 2 movies. Ghostbusters 2 in '89, Alien 3 in '92, Dave in '93, Galaxy Quest in '99, great movie. Heartbreakers in 2001, again, kind of showing that range, different type of role for her. The Village, Wall-E, Avatar, and Cabin in the Woods. And now she does a lot of like voiceover work, like narration for nature specials and stuff like that. But Sigourney Weaver, when I think of like just I guess she, like, out of the people that I have on my list, I feel like she kind of harkens back to some of those actresses that you had mentioned in your honorable mentions. I feel like she's got that vibe about her, just like a classy lady, straight up, no nonsense, diverse roles. She can kind of handle it. Like I said, she can handle franchise work and really knock that out of the park, which is rare. But she can also do, the odd role here or there. So, I mean, maybe not a traditional pick, but she makes my list. Hare, what do you say?
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason why she's doing a lot of voice work is, I mean, if you look at her IMDb page, she's doing Avatar 2, Avatar 3. They're filming Avatar 4 and 5, which are expected to drop, just for the people out there, 2022, 2024, 2026, and 2028.
Tentatively.
Tentatively. So, I mean, I would say if we were doing this list in probably 2000, let's go back 20 years, she's definitely on it. I think she's missing a little bit in the later years. Some of the movies you mentioned, in the later discussion with her, I mean, listen, who doesn't love Avatar? Let's go, baby. But The Village, Wall-E, as much as I love Galaxy Quest, I would say it's a good movie, but it's fine. But yeah, I mean, when you're talking about, female hero, definitely, as we've talked about it with Aliens, Working Girl in a way, Ghostbusters in a way, I think she stands out. So I'm trying to decide about my vote right now. I would say I would put her on, just because of the, I mean, this is where it goes to like these, we're talking about hits here, Aliens, Ghostbusters. There's a lot of good content here for her. But yeah, she's definitely, she definitely has the resume. She definitely has it, even though the Oscar nominated is low. Sometimes I think, there's other ways that you can show that. And I mean, hers is definitely in box office receipts. So, those are my thoughts. Hands.
I have a weird kind of relationship with Sigourney Weaver, and what
happened? Tell us more.
Well,
there's a restraining order.
Back in 19,
it's hard for me to talk about it.
Back in 1980, before I was ever a thought. No, I think a lot, she definitely does have memorable roles in like the Alien and Ghostbuster trilogies. But like I think a lot of the movies that you mentioned, like Heartbreakers, I saw I think on a date in 2021 or 2021, 2001, and I was just like,
did you tell your wife about this date?
yeah, yeah, I'm gonna go see a Jennifer Love Hewitt movie. She's like, what year is it? I you know I'm not a fan of that movie. The Village, it's actually probably outside of Lady in the Water, like my least favorite M. Night movie. She's all right in it. Avatar, I absolutely love, and Cabin in the Woods, she's in it for like the length of like a song. But I'm not taking away from that. I love her cameo in that. But like whenever I think of like Sigourney Weaver, like I just feel like I it goes to like those specific genre movies like sci-fi or like I wouldn't even say comedy. I feel and that's probably based on like I feel like I haven't seen Dave, and I know that is a comedy, right? Is that with Kevin Kline? Yeah. I haven't seen that. Like I haven't seen Gorillas in the Mist or Working Girl. I just from what I've seen her in are really just Aliens, Ghostbusters, and like Avatar, like science fiction. Not taking away that she is great in those roles, but I guess what I've seen her range in is mainly like science fiction. I don't want to say like I haven't seen her stretch, so it's hard for me to kind of evaluate. But you know, like I said, she's great in all those roles. I feel like I could make a case for putting her in a top 10. For like a top 5, I would probably have to go no. But you know, I know nothing against her. I just feel like I'm only familiar with her more towards like science fiction-y, those science fiction roles.
That's fair. All right, so put it up to vote. Hands, you're saying no?
I'm saying no.
Okay. Hair?
I think I'm gonna have to go no.
Okay. And I'm actually gonna go no as well. You know, I put her on my list, and I think she's amazing for the reasons that I mentioned and that we talked about. But just looking at some of the actresses that we have on here already and some of the ones coming up, I think you know, I don't know that she quite hangs with those Titans. She might be like half a step behind in my eyes. So
listen, in 10 years when we've seen all the Avatar films, she'll be right back on this list, and we'll talk about how amazing her character arc is.
Exactly.
I look forward to it.
All right, moving on. Hare, who do you have next?
Yeah, so next for me, you know, we were talking a little bit before the pod. I think Greg had mentioned hot take. You know, we got to have some hot takes on this pod. I'm going to go Amy Adams. Nominated 6 times, never has won yet. She's been in films such as Vice in the last couple of years, Arrival in 2016, which I know Greg knows slaps because he was doing his Denny dive before Dune. And I think she's great in that. American Hustle, you know, that's one of those films where it was like I liked it when I watched it, but then like, when was the last time you had an American Hustle conversation with anybody? But she's solid in that. The Master 2012, I think she stands out in that as well, even though I don't think she's the best part of the movie. The Fighter, I think she was nominated for this, and you know, again, another one where it's like hindsight, like, you know, when was the last time you had a fighter conversation? Doubt, great in that, along with Meryl and Philip Seymour Hoffman. Enchanted, she got the Disney, you know, on the resume. Disenchanted's coming out. Looking forward to it. The wife introduced it to me, I think last year, maybe, or during the pandemic. Really fun movie. It's a good time for any age. Talladega Nights. I threw this on here just because it's just wild to me. And a little cameo in The Office. I think Jim should have went this route, you know, and dated her character. Listen, she didn't have it all there, but it's, you know, it's better than chasing you know, some girl around who's got a boyfriend for many years. So I mean, who has it? You know what I mean? Who hasn't? But not the coolest look. So I will put out the reservations there. Probably doesn't have the entire resume here, but you know, I would say when Amy Adams is in a movie, and I would say it's been tough the past couple of years because I feel like there's a lot of things recently that I didn't mention because either I haven't seen it or I didn't love it. So I would like to see her do another prestige thing or something that, you know, really puts her strengths to the test there for it. So all that there. Papa, what are your thoughts on Amy?
No Man of Steel or Batman versus Superman?
Listen, I'm not
I
mentioning.
know. That's what I
those.
thought. I'm like, wait a minute. I was
Listen,
like,
I gotta
whoa.
save something for you guys. Listen, I can't throw everything
No,
out. If you want to
Zack
mention her
Snyder's Justice
performances,
League.
if you want to mention her performance as Lois Lane for 5, where she shows up for a cup of coffee, that's fine to get the paycheck.
So I do think, actually, out of those movies, I do think in Man of Steel she was okay. I don't think it was like a standout performance by any means.
I'll give you that.
So out of the movies that you listed, I think that she's pretty good in them. I think similar though to Sigourney Weaver, I just don't see her standing up to a lot of the people that we have, and that's why I say, I think this is kind of a hot take, because it's like, oh yeah, like Meryl Streep and Kathy Bates and Kate Winslet and Amy Adams, and it's like that just doesn't fit really. But I think it's not like it's out of the realm. Again, like you said, maybe 10 years from now she's got some more hits on her hands, and we know that she has the chops. Like Arrival, Arrival was the most recent film of hers that I watched. Or I should say I watched it most recently. And I loved her in that. I thought she was spectacular. Great movie. But I think it's a little too early to put her on like a top 5 of all time list.
Yeah. And I think sometimes, and I mean, I know we talk about all the time when we do our list, behind the curtain, but it's like sometimes the fave 5 and the top 5, the lines blur a little bit, where it's like, I like this actress and everything, and she's probably a favorite of mine, but she's also like, I think she could be in that top 5 conversation. So I had her at number 5 for anybody, who cares at home. So she was just on the outside when I was making my list.
Hans, what do you think about Double A?
I'll just get this out of the way. I agree with Greg, where I don't think that she's had enough. Like I feel like whatever she's in, she kills it. I mean, even like The Office, it's such a small role. I don't agree. Jim should have went with Karen, but that's a discussion for another day.
Well, by the way, real quick, I cannot remember her in The Office. I keep thinking of her as Isla Fisher's character with the handbags.
That is her.
Oh, that is Amy Adams with the handbags?
Yes.
That is,
That's Amy Adams.
Shows up with like the fire drill one where they're outside playing the game.
And did Michael give her a cappuccino machine or something too?
Maybe. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's been a while for me. I'm not an office head like Ann Ratty.
But yeah, I mean, you left out The Muppets, which is such a great movie.
I can't. I'm not going to list every IMDb movie. We'll be here all night. You guys throw out what you like. I'm not going to list them all. Lois Lane and the Muppets is good. Got it. Yeah. Greg's all of a sudden reconsidering.
No.
Yeah, I actually watched the one movie on Netflix, Hillbilly Elegy, which not bad.
Yeah,
it's a good movie. Glenn Close was great in it. I feel like I think that was the only role that was like nominated for a Razzie and like an Oscar like together. So I don't know. But yeah, I would like to see where she's at in 10, 15 years. I feel like she's heading in the right direction of kind of being in that conversation. But I wouldn't necessarily say now she's in the top of the list.
All right, so putting it to an official vote, I'm going to say no. Hair.
I'm going to say yes, just because she's on my list. Otherwise, that's it.
All right, and Hands.
No.
All right, see you later, Miss Adams. But we'll talk anytime.
Have Superman catch your fall, loser.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Hands, who you got for us?
I think this is the last one that I have that isn't shared by everyone else.
It's shared by me.
It's shared by you, but I think like everything else is like, I think I'm out the rest of the show. Charlize Theron.
Sit there.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sit here in silence. Charlize Theron. I didn't realize that like how far back. I feel like she's an actress that should be like 60 because I feel like she's always been around, but like she's still like kind of fairly young. Like I feel like she has like a long career ahead. But like you look at some of the movies that she's done, Monster, which is like outside of movies that I saw her after, like some of the movies that like a couple years after it came out, like she is horrifying in that role, and she like transforms like so like it's terrifying. And then like we talk about range, she does a lot of superhero-ish type action movies. As much as I don't consider it as I think it's a little overrated, she's great in Mad Max Fury Road as Furiosa. I don't think she's in the sequel. Am I correct in assuming that?
It's going to be a
It's like
prequel of
I forget who was doing
Furiosa.
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah, my girl.
Yeah.
She'll be on my next list. Don't worry about it. Love her.
Okay,
Fave 5 in there.
Sure.
And Florence Pugh.
100%.
But I think that she has like, you go to look at like movies like Monster. She does Fury Road. She like jumps into comedy. With the two examples that I'll think of are season 3 of Arrested Development, which her storyline is the most uncomfortable, funniest storyline I've ever seen on TV. It's great when she pops up. If you know, she's in like the first half of season 3. And A Million Ways to Die in the West, which is a very extremely underrated comedy, and she's fantastic in it. I don't shake your head. It is
properly rated.
No, it's not. It is. If we did top 10 comedies, this would be on there.
Dude, get out of here. No,
I'm not joking.
We did Fave 5 and you didn't have it on.
Because 5, I said 5.
I don't remember the honorable mention.
No, this I think I forgot about it, but this is like, when I think about it, it is such a funny movie. Whatever. I'm not. This isn't the Million Ways to Die in the West podcast. But I think like, and I actually saw half of that Bombshell with her in it, Margot Robbie and Nicole Kidman. But I think she has like a ton of range, and I think like she's another one who does a lot. Like, I feel like she has so much fun with her roles, and I think that when actors and actresses do that, I think it adds a lot to their characters. Like, you can tell in the Fast 8 and Fast 9. Well, I didn't see Fast 8, but Fast 9. Like, like those kind of roles that they must really love doing. And I feel like she's as much as I didn't like Fast 9, she was a standout in it. I'm sure she was better in Fast 8. I'm sure you guys can vouch for me on that one. But the little clips I've seen on YouTube that I watched to piece everything together, she was pretty good in. Atomic Blonde is I feel like that got a lot of hate. It was a great action movie. No, I've seen a lot of people like online like give it a lot of like stink.
Probably
I don't agree with them.
Who are trash.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic movie. But yeah, I mean that's my Charlize pitch. Harry, I know you had her on your list, so I know there's some movies that I left out that you had included.
I think it was just one movie.
Listen,
I always love when we're talking about the Prestige and the top 5, and Chris is like season 3 or season 1 of Arrested Development.
Season 3.
Watch.
No, because you know what? Arrested Development's turned into like background music for me. If I'm doing something else, I'll put it on. And I feel like every time the first like season 3 starts and it gets to, like, the British storyline, it's one of my favorite parts because it's just like so uncomfortably funny. But
yeah,
I don't want to dig too much into it. My Arrested Development podcast.
One of the movies I mentioned, I think it was an honorable mention for me for Fave 5 comedies, was Long Shot. She's absolutely incredible in that to me. She really stands out. It really shows the desire of Charlize in that movie. And she kills it. Tully and Young Adult, I think this is the I forget the writer's name, I'll look it up as we talk, but those two movies there, she really goes for the performances there. They're pretty dark movies in a way. I think Diablo Cody is the writer I'm talking about. I think Jason Reitman directed both of those, if I'm not mistaken, too, as well. Atomic Blonde, as Chris mentioned, people called it the female John Wick. I think it's better than most of the John Wick movies, if I'm being honest about it. And then, she absolutely steals Mad Max Fury Road. The movie's called Mad Max, and everybody came out of that movie and like Charlize killed it in that. I think she won an Oscar in 2004, for Monster. And I mean, I know she was in some things before that, like The Italian Job she has a role in, and Mighty Joe Young. I think she was also in. She was in that. I forgot. I honestly forgot all about that. Yeah.
So
I mean, this is what Chris was mentioning, I think, a little bit with like, she feels like she's been around for a while. but I feel as though like her best work is ahead of her, and I feel as though the last few years and the last couple of movies shows it. So definitely one should be nominated for my list. Greg?
Okay. Yeah, I had her on my honorable mentions also. I think she's a tremendous actress. She's a chameleon. She whatever role she's in, she sinks her teeth into, and most times ends up chewing up the scenery in a good way. Like you can't take your eyes off her or her performance, regardless of genre or the role or whatever. Happy that you mentioned Young Adult. I forgot about that movie, but she was really, really solid in that movie.
Yeah, really upsetting character, but really good in it.
Right. I actually did not see that, but was that the movie with Patton Oswalt, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So good stuff all around. I think you guys hit the nails on the head with that. Trying to think if there was anything else that I saw her in that I think, you know what? It wasn't like a huge role, but she played kind of like a stone cold bee in Prometheus as Captain Vickers. Yeah. And so, again, that's just another bit of range for her where she was kind of the take no nonsense captain of the crew.
Prometheus.
Wasn't she also the villain wasn't she also the villain in the Will Smith movie, the superhero movie? Hancock? Yeah.
Hancock?
Yeah.
Yeah. She was the villain.
I remember her being in it. I don't remember if she was the villain or not.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't see many Will Smith movies.
Yeah, well, we know.
I will see King Richard though. I will see.
You know what? Funny about Hancock. It does have the one of my best 5 actors in Jason Bateman.
Jesus.
Connecting it all together.
There you go. Tying it all around.
Hot takes.
Yes. All right. Well, let's put Charlize up for vote. Howard, what are you saying?
I say yes for me.
Hans?
Yes.
And I'm going to say yes as well. I think she deserves to be in that convo. So Charlize going on the list. All right. Next up, who was that? That was yours, Harry?
That was Hans.
That was Hans. Okay. So we're going to circle back to me then. And my final pick, which is Frances McDormand, Oscar nominated 7 times, 3 times for supporting, 3 times for lead, and once as a producer. She won 4 times, once as lead for Fargo, once as lead for 3 Billboards, and she won for lead and producer for Nomadland, which is the first time an actress was nominated for acting and producing for the same film. So making a little bit of history there. And then she was Emmy nominated 3 times and won twice for lead and producer for Olive Kitteridge. Some movies, that she was known for: Blood Simple, Raising Arizona, Fargo, of course, the big one. She was great as the mom in Almost Famous. City by the Sea, not a movie a lot of people talk about, but I really enjoy that movie. I think it's good. Something's Gotta Give, Burn After Reading, Transformers: Dark of the Moon.
Whoa.
But yeah,
how is she not nominated for that?
Moonrise Kingdom, Hail Caesar, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, Isle of Dogs, and of course Nomadland most recently. For me, Frances, when I see her in a role, I don't see Frances McDormand. I see just the character. And I guess you could say that about a lot of the people that we're talking about anyway, but it really is like talk about getting buy-in from me. Like she just disappears, and it's whoever she is she's playing. And I also think that, I don't want this to come off the wrong way, but some of the people on our list have movie star good looks. I don't think she has that. Right. She's a good looking person, but not conventional Hollywood, like long blonde hair and perfection and all of that stuff. So it helps that she's got a more realistic look and vibe about her, and I think that helps with her roles also. We had mentioned with Charlize in Monster, she kind of stripped that away, and it really helped her with the character. But Frances is not comparing her to Monster, obviously, but Frances has just a great look that helps her blend in with the characters that she plays. So I just think she's absolutely tremendous. I think behind Meryl Streep, probably one of the most recognized ladies in the modern era.
For sure.
So what do you guys think?
I would probably go when you said like you don't see Frances McDormand in roles, like you kind of see her character. It's so funny that like I feel like when like even before like Nomadland, like she was in a lot of movies that I've seen, and I don't think I really realized that like I didn't recognize that she was in Transformers: Dark of the Moon. And to be honest, I don't remember a lot of that movie, which is probably for the best. But like movies like Burn After Reading, like Coen Brothers and Wes Anderson films, like I don't necessarily remember her being in them, but I know she was. And like I actually a couple movies I like in the past year, like I rewatched like Almost Famous, which she's great in. It's such a great movie.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Mrs. Pettigrew Lives for a Day. That showed up on TV the other day, and I was like, that was what I watched. I'm like, wow. I'm like, I watched like maybe like 15-20 minutes of it because I think I saw like the first one or whatever, and I'm like, not a bad movie. But then like Moonrise Kingdom is a great movie. Hail Caesar, I don't think I think it's not the Coen Brothers' best movie, but there's a lot of really good performances in it. And she's included. I have not seen Nomadland. I've been wanting to go and check it out ever since it won the Oscars. So I'll probably in the next couple months I'll check it out.
Hulu also. Yeah.
Is it okay?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
All right, cool. But she works with a lot of directors that I like the Coen Brothers and Wes Anderson. I feel like she's been in like 4 or 5 different Wes Anderson movies. She's going to be in The French Dispatch, which is good. So I'll see her soon in whatever whenever that comes out. But yeah, I think like she deserves to kind of be up there with like Meryl Streep, like kind of esque like level, like kind of an elite actress level. But yeah, Howard, what are your thoughts on Frances?
Yeah, which Coen brothers is she married to? Do you guys know off the top of your head?
I didn't know any of them, but I could find that out. So I thought
you don't know Joel and Ethan Coen?
No, I don't know she was married to any of them.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Look it up for me real quick. But yeah, I mean, her early work is definitely, I mean, part of the reason why I think the Coen brothers, not only because they make great films, but also because because of her work, with Blood Simple, Raising Arizona, and Fargo. Fargo was one of the early movies I saw, when you're doing the history deep dive of like trying to understand film, and just absolutely love Fargo. Shout out to the TV series as well. Burn After Reading plays a wonky character in that, but I think everybody does in that movie, so that's a fun one if you haven't revisited it in a while. Moonrise Kingdom, she's part of that Wes Anderson world, we were talking about with French Dispatch, solid in Hail Caesar. 3 Billboards, I didn't love the movie. She was good in it, but didn't really care for the movie for me. And Nomadland, while I did enjoy the movie, and it's a beautiful, beautiful film, it didn't really do it for me. I felt Nomadland was fine. I don't use that. Sometimes I use my fine as like doesn't really matter. But it's a solid flick. So for me, which one did you find it, Chris?
No, I'm gonna have it in 1 second.
Still looking. It's okay. Yeah. But I would also say really, really obviously very, very, very excited for the Tragedy of Macbeth. Which should be coming out later this year with her and Denzel, directed by Joel Coen, which if I had to take a guess, Joel, yeah. So, it might be some, his work with a great filmmaker, but hey, man, I mean, listen, you do what you got to do to get, in those prominent roles. So working with a great director or great directors, definitely, doesn't hurt your chances of being on a top 5 list. So, those are my thoughts on Frances. But yeah, I would definitely say she has the pedigree to be on this list. And if you haven't seen any of the early work with the Coens, like Blood Simple, Arizona, Raising Arizona, and Fargo, definitely see it, because I think people think nowadays it's like, oh, Frances McDormand, she's gonna be the same in every movie, which I think she kind of gets held to with some of the later work. Watch those early ones, and you'll definitely see a different person.
I'm going to challenge you on Nomadland because I think she really, she was legit in that movie. That was one of the movies I thought for me. She was that character.
Yeah, but like, name me another actor in that movie.
I can't. Well, some of those were real people.
Yeah, I know, but I like, that's where like the movie, like, I think stands out a little bit more from the actor for me, of just doing stuff like that, of putting real people in it and telling real stories, from it. So I think the movie is a little bit better than the performance to me. But yeah, listen, I want, no harm, no foul. I think it's a solid performance for sure.
Okay. All right. Well, let's. Oh, Hands.
Sorry, I don't know if you guys watch Saturday Night Live anymore, or have you in the past year or two?
Watch the clips.
What's her name? Kate McKinnon on Saturday Night Live does a fantastic Frances McDormand impression. Like after she won for Nomadland, I would recommend checking out, if you haven't seen it, the sketch Uli's show, and if you're a Frances McDormand fan, you'll really love that skit because it's phenomenal.
I do remember that, and it definitely stands out.
So Kate McKinnon plays that, and Pete Davidson plays Steve Buscemi.
Yes.
So, yep.
All right. Well, let's put Frances up to a vote. I'm gonna say yay. Hands, how about you?
Go to Harry first. I'm kind of like on a fence right now.
So yeah.
Harry.
Yeah, I'll say yeah. I'll cancel.
Wow, I didn't think you were going to answer that quick. No, I would agree. Let's looking at her resume. I would say yeah. I think there's definitely a solid case to kind of put her on like the top 2 or 3.
Okay. All right, cool. So she makes the list. Moving on, Harry, we have one last pick from you.
Yeah.
And Hands, all yours are done.
Well, listen, that's what happens sometimes with these lists.
That means we universally agree. Yeah.
So my last nomination is Cate Blanchett. I believe, Chris, you mentioned her for your honorable mentions.
Yes.
Nominated 7 times, 4 for leading, 3 for supporting. She's won twice, 1 for leading with Blue Jasmine and 1 for supporting with The Aviator. Some recent film work that she's been in: Ocean's 8, which, not as good as the Ocean's 11 movies, but it's a solid heist movie, as my wife would say, if you enjoy those. Another wife pick, Thor Ragnarok. Absolutely loves that film. There's always trouble with Marvel villains where it's like sometimes you just don't get enough to do, but I thought she was a solid villain in it. Also 2015's Carol, if you haven't seen that, it's a really, really quiet, slow film, but a really good one. Obviously we talked a little bit about Blue Jasmine, a film I don't think it's a lot of love. Hannah from 2011. I think she's really good in that, as well as that's a really good film if you haven't seen it. Talked a little bit about The Aviator. I think she's a solid standout in that. She obviously won for it. And then obviously, we talked a little bit about it earlier, but any Lord of the Rings movie, she is going to be found in it. So I'll leave it up to you guys to discuss some other films maybe that stand out to you. But I think she makes a good case to be on there. It could be something for me. Again, I'll admit it. Maybe let's see what happens in the next 5 years, because I think her later couple of years resume, but I feel like that for almost everybody we talk about with the pandemic and everything makes it tough to kind of judge the last 3 to 4 years. But Hans, what are your thoughts? I know you mentioned her a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think I thought I dove in a little too much. I didn't realize that I thought she was on an honorable mention.
It didn't hurt my feelings.
Okay. Well, good. I know, just, as I said earlier, like, I think that, she has a wide resume. I'm always going to know her from like Lord of the Rings movies. I haven't seen a lot of her outside of like science fiction or fantasy. Like I haven't seen Carol. Blue Jasmine, I think I'm thinking about it. I think I did see Blue Jasmine. I'm trying to think. That's Woody Allen movie, right? Did I make that up?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Yeah.
When was the last time you had a Woody Allen conversation?
Not lately. Yeah. But I think I remember seeing that. But I'm not gonna repeat what I said earlier with some of her stuff. Her best role is gonna be Lord of the Rings, and her little cameo in Hot Fuzz. So, Greg,
Papa?
Yeah, what are your thoughts?
No one wants to bring up Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Nope.
Where she was
she was
crazy villain.
One of the worst characters in one of the worst movies ever.
Cate Blanchett, I like her in what I've seen, but I haven't seen much, to be honest. Like,
okay.
I've seen the Lord of the Rings series. I've seen, Thor Ragnarok, but I haven't seen
The hits.
Yeah, no, I haven't. Like Blue Jasmine, I mean, I want to go see it now. And Carol, I guess, because you guys are talking about it. I do have The Aviator on my queue in HBO Max. But I haven't seen these movies. So I don't have enough to comment on. I mean, yeah, she's a great Galadriel, but like I can't, I'm not going to put her in the top 5 actresses.
And I will be a beautiful queen.
Yes. Loved by all and feared. So yeah, I mean, that's my take on Cate Blanchett. I mean, she certainly has the credentials based on, awards, nominations, and wins and everything. But I don't know.
Also in the underrated Robin Hood with Russell Crowe.
Oh.
Yep, I enjoyed that. You have no idea how much I enjoyed that silence after I said that.
Properly rated.
I'm so happy.
Was that Ridley Scott?
Yes.
Yeah. Chris, sometimes I think you're a 55-year-old dad who's sat on the couch and like is flipping through the Comcast or Verizon, whatever cable company you got, and is like, "Oh, Robin Hood's on. I'll check this out."
Nah, man, I saw Robin Hood.
Pretty solid.
I saw Robin Hood opening weekend.
Yeah, well, that makes more sense for it. So,
all right, well, let's get to the voting with Kate here. So, Hare, what are you going to say?
I'm going to say yes, but I do have a little bit of reservations with, obviously her being the last pick, not her fault. But I'm going to say yes, but you could convince me otherwise.
Hands
in the top 5, I'm saying no.
Okay,
that's why she's honorable mention for me.
And I'm going to say no as well, just because, again, I don't have enough of a flavor for her.
No argument there.
All right. So that brings us to our top 5 list, which actually has 6 people on it.
Hey, now.
So we've got.
This happened last time.
Yes, it did. We've got
justice for Christopher Nolan. #.
We've got Kathy Bates, Meryl Streep, Viola Davis, Kate Winslet, Charlize Theron, and Frances McDormand. So who doesn't make the cut, boys?
All right. I'm throwing my name out. I'm going to say Kathy Bates. We get rid of her only because I feel like she is, like I said, I feel like she's more of a supporting character in a lot of movies. I feel like the other characters, the other actresses have carried their own movies for pretty much, they might not have a bigger resume, but I feel like their names are like, a lot of people are going to run out to a Charlize Theron movie or Meryl Streep movie. No one's going to be like, "Hey man, you want to go catch that new Bates movie?" So
Jeez Louise. Shots fired. Kathy Bates is sitting at home being like, "What did I do?"
Sorry.
Honestly, Chris, before I was hoping you would say it, but yeah, that would be my nomination as well. I mean, I think Viola, Frances, Meryl, Kate are pretty much locks for me. You could maybe make the case for Charlize if you wanted to, Greg, since I know, but I feel as though that, hers is just a little bit shy. Kathy Bates, sorry.
I would have gone Charlize to eliminate just because I feel like she has been around, but I feel like she didn't start digging in until a little later in her career. So she
I was just going to say awards wise, it's pretty similar. They've each won 1 Oscar. Charlize has been nominated 3 times. Kathy's 4. I mean, Kathy obviously has the Emmys, but I mean, one thing we didn't talk about, because we're talking about acting, is Charlize has done some producing with things as well. So, but I mean, I think that's also part of like just, today's world of, letting women do more things, for that. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm gonna ride for Charlize. So, but I know you're gonna ride for Kathy.
Yeah, and Hans, you're voting off Kathy as well.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
That's
so we got
definitive.
we got our top 5 actresses here. We got Meryl Streep, Viola Davis, Kate Winslet, Charlize Theron, and Frances McDormand. How you boys feeling about that?
I like it. I love it.
I do too. I think that's a pretty
Listen, no
solid
love
list.
for anyone pre-1960. It's fine. I'll sleep fine tonight, you savages.
I liked Fay Ray in King Kong.
Jesus. Shocking. You've seen a 1930s King Kong movie.
Yes, I know.
Sorry. I missed out on Faye Worthington in 1926 silent movies.
Where's Fanny Butterfat at?
Stop
Fanny. Wait, what did she say? Butterfat or Butterfield?
Fanny, yeah, Fanny Butterfat.
Yep.
Haters.
All right. So thank you all for tuning in or listening as always. By all means, please let us know who your top 5 actresses are. We would love to hear.
Absolutely.
And you can hit us up on our socials at PS Live Spicy on Twitter, or leave us a comment on any of our myriad of Instagram, Facebook, Twitter posts, or YouTube, Spotify. Obviously can't leave a comment, but shoot us one anyway. iTunes, leave us a review. Harry, you got anything for the peeps?
Yeah, I was gonna say, study up on your film history. Any movies. I feel like we missed out on the Hepburn ladies, Catherine and Audrey. As far as not getting any love on this episode. Chris rolls his eyes because he's not a child of cinema. He's a child of the movies, as they say. Definitely.
And
call us,
I'm the 55-year-old man that sits on the couch.
You're the 55-year-old dad on the couch, turns on TNT. There it is, the movie Robin Hood, and you're just
Harry's
there
a
for a solid
TCM
hour
man.
and a half. Yeah, listen, turn a classic, baby. Let's go.
I've watched Shawshank Redemption more times because it's on TV. So
there it is again. The good old Shawshank. Listen to this. That's all I got for the peeps is watch a classic film this week, or in the next 2 weeks that we talk. So
you'll really
get an enjoyment out of it.
Hands, anything for the peeps?
No, I actually, and I'll be in contact with you around this. I want to see if you want to write a comic book character by the name of Fanny Butterfat.
Absolutely, we'll make it happen. It'll be the next
1920s actress / superhero.
Cannot wait.
You boys have fun.
All right, well, that's it for us. We will see you guys in 2 weeks, and as always, live spicy.
Spicy.